Alright, so that's your main rotation, and you want to try and mix your cooldowns in during your main rotation. Oh wait, you probably don't know what a main rotation is, do you? Or what cooldowns are. Well, that's okay, because this week we're talking about combat. We're also talking about questing, because if we're going to teach you how to fight, we might as well teach you how to go out and use your powers for good, help people, slay beasts. So, one of the things I do want to talk to you first about is when you're practicing your rotation, you want to use a practice weapon. Because I can tell you from experience that if you don't, it could be hazardous to your beard.
Week 3 is focused on combat and questing. I chose World of Warcraft to cover this topic, and I'll be playing a Blood Elf Mage. The Mage is an RPG archetype, famous for casting powerful spells and their vast knowledge of magic. This is where newly created Blood Elf characters start their journey. In front of me is the first quest giver I'll encounter in the game. The way you can tell she is a quest giver is by the yellow exclamation point above her head. Right-clicking on her opens up a quest dialog box on the left, which has background story about the quest. Click the red accept button to accept the quest. Let me take a moment to go over the UI. My action bar at the bottom currently holds 2 spells. The chat panel is to the left, character health and mana are on the top left, minimap on the top right, and quest log just below the minimap. Mages start off with one spell, Frostfire Bolt. It's a spell with a cast time that does damage and slows enemy movement speed. Because I am a Blood Elf, I also have Arcane Torrent, which is an interrupt. Interrupts will be discussed in a future video. You may have noticed that the minimap in the top right hand corner contains a light blue shaded region, which indicates that this area is relevant to a quest in our quest log. My quest is to slay 6 mana worms. To do so, left or right click on one. This is the primary method for targeting enemies in MMORPGs. When targeted, cast a Frostfire Bolt by pressing 1, which is the standard keybind, until the enemy dies. A shiny animation will appear on the enemy's corpse, which lets the player know that there is loot that needs to be picked up. Right-click on the corpse, then right-click any items you wish to pick up. The yellow question mark in the quest log and on the minimap indicate that a quest is complete. We can use either the minimap or the full-size map, default key M, to navigate back to the quest giver and turn the quest in. Right-click on her again to do so. Turning the quest back in grants experience and usually a monetary or item reward. In this case, we gained enough experience to progress to level 2. That was the shiny gold explosion. This particular quest giver also has 2 new quests for us. We'll accept them both and look in our bag, default key B, to equip the belt we were given for completing the first quest. Right-clicking the item in the bag will equip it. Next, we head inside to speak with the Mage Trainer. She gives a quest that is unable to be completed until a character reaches level 3. I'll try and get there by completing the other quest in my log.
The dark times will pass. Farewell.
By using the minimap, I can tell that there's a blue shaded region just outside this building, which likely means that the spring maw cubs I need to collect collars from are located in that area. This is an example of an item collection quest. I'll continue to kill spring maw until I have the required 8 collars, then use the map to locate the quest giver and turn the quest back in. The quest that we did first is known as a simple kill quest. For now, our rotation is only one spell, because Frostfire Bolt is the only spell we know. A rotation is a series of abilities cast in succession, usually to maximize how much damage you are dealing to an enemy. Notice the cast bar that appears above the action bar if you hadn't before. Killing enemies and turning in quests will grant experience points, as I mentioned earlier. Experience points will allow the character to level up and gain access to new spells, and in turn, more complex rotations. Previously, you may have seen videos of high-level MMORPG content, and noticed an incredible number of spells and a highly customized UI. Keep in mind that characters usually only gain 1 or 2 new abilities per level, and sometimes none at all. This allows players to easily expand their repertoire one spell at a time, so try not to get too overwhelmed. Some MMORPGs also allow players to install modifications to the standard user interface. These are like apps you would download to a smartphone, but they integrate into the MMO itself to change the look or functionality of certain UI elements. Custom UIs are on the advanced level, but I wanted to mention them to you so that you're prepared. Excellent, I've got all 8 collars. Now to turn this quest back in and see if I level up. Please note that a master list of all the abilities your character has learned can be accessed by pressing the default key P to open your spellbook.
Anu Belore Delana. The reckoning is at hand.
Huzzah! The quest granted enough experience to get to level 3. I'll accept the next quest and equip the bracers I got as a reward. You'll notice that I have a brand new ability on my bar now, Frost Nova. This spell will hold enemies around the mage in place for up to 8 seconds. Let's try it out. That completed the quest, but I also hit some more mana worms. I'll take them out and then turn in the quest I completed by practicing Frost Nova. Questing proceeds in this fashion, guiding the character through the game world and allowing them to gain more powerful spells, items, etc.
Glory to the Sindori.
Now that we have a second ability, let's take a look at a 2-button rotation. I'll cast a Frostfire Bolt, then Frost Nova the links in place and cast another bolt. Moving away from an enemy as a spellcaster is beneficial. In World of Warcraft, enemy melee attacks slow down how quickly you can cast spells.
Okay, recruits, that's enough for this week. We covered the basics of combat and questing pretty well. But next week we're going to start talking about groups, because now that you know how to fight, you have to learn how to fight alongside someone without poking their eye out. So we're going to talk about groups, but we're also going to talk about what's known as the Holy Trinity: tank, healer, DPS. You probably don't know what any of that means just yet if you're brand new to MMORPGs, but we're going to get into that next week. And until then, keep practicing.